Hey there, loves. Welcome to Life's Just Cray. I'm Kate, and this is where we talk through real life situations that have you up until 2 a.m. talking with your bestie. Like, okay, but what would you do though? Real situations, real talk, no fluff. My grandma always used to say that you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's exactly how I move on this show. Everything I say comes from my own experience or my own thoughts. I'm not a professional, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. However, it might just help. We are talking ambition and burnout today, and this one is for every single person who has ever sacrificed something they cannot get back in the name of the hustle.
I've always been ambitious. That is not something that developed in me gradually. It has been there for as long as I can remember. As a kid, I was the one who wanted to be first, do it better, push further. As I got older, that drive became the thing I was most proud of about myself. It got me places. It opened doors. It built a version of my life that looked from the outside exactly like what happens when someone refuses to settle for less than what they are capable of. People used to tell me they admired my work ethic, and I took that seriously. I wore it like an identity because in a lot of ways it was the most consistent and reliable thing I knew about myself. I was the person who showed up and did the work. Every single time. No exceptions. And I am exhausted in a way I have never been before and cannot fully explain to anyone around me without feeling like I am betraying the identity I have spent my entire life building. Like admitting the exhaustion out loud means admitting that the whole thing was unsustainable, and I am not ready to say that to someone who has watched me build this from the ground up. So I keep showing up and keep performing the version of myself that everyone expects, and the gap between that performance and how I actually feel keeps getting wider every single week. I work more hours than I should. I have missed things I cannot get back. Birthdays, trips that got postponed and never rescheduled, conversations that needed more of me than I had available to give at the time. I tell myself it is temporary, that once this project is done or this goal is hit or this next level is reached, I will exhale and recalibrate and give the other parts of my life what they deserve. But the finish line keeps moving, and I keep running, and somewhere along the way, I stopped being able to remember what I was originally running toward. I have been in motion for so long that stopping feels more frightening than continuing, even when continuing is clearly breaking something in me that I am not sure how to name yet. The scariest part is that I do not even enjoy it the way I used to. The work that used to light me up now just feels like a list of things that need to get done before tomorrow brings a new list. I have lost the feeling that made all of the sacrifice make sense. And without that feeling, I am just someone who works constantly and calls it purpose because I do not know who I am if I slow down. I have never had to answer that question before, and the uncertainty of it terrifies me more than the burnout itself. I am afraid that if I stop pushing, I will lose everything I have built. And I am equally afraid that if I do not stop, I will lose everything that actually matters. How do you stay ambitious without letting your ambition consume the life you were supposedly building it for?
You know what this reminds me of? College burnout. Or that feeling right after high school when you've been pushing so hard for so long that your whole system just starts rejecting the pace. That gap year conversation that so many people have and feel so guilty about, even considering, because stopping feels like falling behind. And I'm not saying that your situation is identical to that, but I am saying that the feeling at the center of it is the same. You've been going so hard for so long that your mind and your body are no longer able to sustain the version of yourself that got you there. And that's not weakness. That's just biology. Here's the real question that I want you to sit down with honestly. If you pull back, not stop or quit or walk away from everything you've built, but genuinely reduce from 100% to 70% for a season? Are you going to be able to come back? Because I think that's the question that is actually underneath all of this. The fear isn't really about losing the momentum. The fear is that if you let yourself drop even a little, that you won't be able to find your way back to who you were. And I want you to hear this from me when I say that fear is worth examining closely, because it might be the most important thing standing between you and the rest you actually need. And here's what I know about human beings. The happiest people alive, the ones who seem like they have it the most together, the ones that we look at and think that they have figured something out that the rest of us just haven't yet, even they have moments where they're not okay. Even they have seasons where they pull back and let people around them just carry more of the weight for a while. And that's not failure, that's wisdom. Knowing when to hand the reins to people in your circle temporarily, so that you can come back stronger. That's one of the smartest moves a driven person can make. And the people who genuinely belong in your corner will step up when you let them. That's how you find out who your real ones are. You didn't build all of this just to burn yourself down inside of it. The ambition that got you here isn't going anywhere. It lives in you, and it'll be there when you're ready to run again. But right now, you need to walk for a little bit. 70% is still more than most people give on their best day. Give yourself permission to be human, even if it's just for a season. That is how you finish strong. Not by pushing through until something breaks, but by knowing when to breathe so that you can keep going for everything that's still ahead of you. Alrighty, loves. That's all I've got for you today, and you already know where to find me. Slide into the DMs with your situation, and you might just hear it on the next episode. And if this one hit home for you, share it with someone who needs it, because that is what we do. And remember, just because I've said this advice doesn't mean you have to take it. You're the maker of your own decisions, but you must also be willing to deal with the consequences of your actions if there are any. Until next time, take care of yourself.